because I was able to, and I didn't mind, and it was good for me, and it kept me busy, and I was not worried about boys, or I was not worried about things that I didn't need to be concerned about. I wasn't getting in trouble. I was, I was behaving. I was doing what I needed to do. I needed to worry about things. I was not concerned with things that probably normal teenagers were worried about. I was, the things that were concerning me were bigger things than that. So I definitely think, stereotypes, yes, there are stereotypes or homeschoolers where you're sheltering your kids and your kids are not learning. And then there's some homeschoolers where it's like, looking back, there are people that have even said, I would have never guessed you were homeschooled by the way that you carry yourself, by who you are, by the way you act. I would have never guessed, like, the way who you are. And then some people are like, yeah, I can tell you're a homeschooler because you're, you act more mature than most people your age at the time that I was. It's like at 27, it's like, well, yeah. It's like, you pretty much have, you pretty much fit into a stereotypical 27-year-old. But, it's, something that I think that for us, too, it's like, whether, for us, it was education. My parents did not feel we were getting the education we needed. For some parents, the education's fine, but they want to give their kids something else. They don't like everything else that's going on with their children. I personally would love to homeschool my kids. Now, yes, would I do things a little different than my parents? Absolutely, I would do things a little bit different than my parents. Did my parents do a horrible job? No, I'm not saying that. Did my parents do a bad job? No, I'm not saying that. I would do things differently. I mean, everybody says that. But would I homeschool? Absolutely. Am I saying you're a bad parent because you didn't homeschool? No, because everybody has to do what's best for their children. If I said we're homeschooling tomorrow, and one of my children we clash, and you know what, it's not working, they do better in a school setting, then I'm going to send them to school because it's what's best for that child. Some kids, they learn better in an atmosphere like that. Some kids don't. Some kids learn better in a at-home atmosphere. I'm going to do what's best for my kids. But I am totally 100% public school if that's what you need to do. I'm 100% private school if that's what you need to do. I'm 100% homeschool if that's what you need to do. You have to find what's best. Some people, they cannot homeschool their kids. It's just like, nope, I cannot do it. Some parents, they are able to. They can make those choices. They can work it into the budget, or they can work around it, or they can work their job around it or whatever, and they can make that happen. And that's great. And some people, it's different for everybody. But again, I say that, you have to make the best decision for you and your family. And I'm very thankful that my parents did make that decision, because in the end, I think you benefited from it hugely. So that's just my little tidbit about that. I probably will continue this because I don't think I'm quite done. But I have to get the kids because we have a whole adventure going on. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Alright, we're going to try this again. I accidentally turned the camera off instead of telling it to stop and then restart recording, which happens because I'm trying to do this right. Anyway, that's all. Luckily for me, this but it makes a perfect sound. Anyway, so basically what I was going to say today, that, just to kind of continue on with the homeschool idea and the homeschool thing is, you know what, we all, have to make the choice that's best for us. For me, I'm really glad that my parents decided to homeschool and they were able to homeschool. I know some families, they're just not, it's just not in their budget, or just not in, they're not able to. And I totally understand, and then some parents, they just can't do it. But I also think that there is a false sense of like stereotype, or there's a false sense of well, your kids are not smart enough, or your kids are not there's something wrong with your kids, or that you're not educating your kids. That's another thing. It's like, oh, well, your kids aren't getting a good education, or they're just play at home all day. So I really feel like just we need to stop judging each other for our choices. Maybe ask questions, try to get down to the nitty gritty. When we first started, our family was not supportive at all. And it was kind of like, you don't really need to be supportive, but you also don't need to be ugly about it. So everybody makes their choices. The video I watched, I really was like completely behind her, especially when she talked about socialization. And then she was like, have you ever looked that up? So, and she's very passionate about it. I loved being homeschooled. I would homeschool my kids in a heartbeat. I would do it a little differently, but that's me. That's my personality. For me too, because I worked with preschoolers. Now, school-age kids would be different, but because I work with preschoolers, I feel like I like to do more of those hands-on kind of projects, and I like getting my hands dirty. And so I feel like that's where I would have the most fun. And I learned so much more when I was teaching preschoolers about science and health than I ever did ever did at their age, or ever did in the public school setting at that time. So there were things that my fourth graders knew, my 4-year-olds knew, or experiments that we did that I didn't do until the 3rd grade. And I was in public school, and I was like, they're getting a head start, and it was just a fun experiment. And they'll probably do it again and probably get 10 times more knowledge from it when they're older than they did when they were 3 and 4, but it was just fun. So, I'm completely for it, and I think that, you find what you're passionate about. Some people are passionate about private schooling, and if you can afford that, or you found a great way to do private schooling, great. I really don't feel like it's going to be in the budget for us, but that may be an option too. If we did have it in the budget and we could send our kids to private school, I would do that. Whatever works best for my kids. If I could make the sacrifices to do it, then I would. But yeah, I'm totally 100% homeschool. I think it's a great thing. I think your kids can learn so much. So, just a little bit of tidbit information, and so it is also very, very exciting.